Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are once again revisiting the lesbian nun sisters that are Exosister. Now, if you do not know this deck, it is a rank 4 strategy that utilizes powerful rank 4s to stop graveyard shenanigans by gaining additional benefits if your opponent moves cards around in the graveyard. Being able to Xe summon, preventing them from activating their effects, preventing them from special summoning, banishing cards, etc., etc. But all doing this on the opponent's turn. Basically, Xe summoning on the opponent's turn in order to interact with them. However, they got some new support that changed their strategy ever so slightly. Now it is all about banishing cards. You just banish cards your opponent controls. So let's quickly do the discussion of this deck and the card by card. Starting off with Martha right here. This card is absolutely crazy. If you control no monsters or only Xe monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you do special summon an Exosister Ellis from your deck, you cannot special summon the turn you activate this effect except for Exosister monsters. If a card moves out of either graveyard, you can special summon from your extra deck. Target an Exosister Xe monster using this face-up card you control as material. Summon an Exosister monster from Xe monster from your extra deck using this face-up card. So basically, what this does is it's just a free rank 4. You summon this, rank 4, boom, you're done. Now, this is also incredibly useful because with Caspitel, you can also search out something like a Stella or an Ellis in order to get the next rank 4 with your next normal summon. Absolutely insane. Or you could go into Mika in order to search out something like Pax, which also is able to special summon a monster and search a monster. Or you could search out one of the traps of Vaudis or Returnia. We'll get into those in a second. But of course, the next card is Ellis. We're playing 3 of this as well. Ellis is crazy. You just special summon it if you have another Exosister on your field. And if your opponent... hold on. You could, if your opponent moves a card out of either graveyard... if your opponent specifically moves a card out of either graveyard, this one just says if a card is moved out of either graveyard. So do keep that in mind. You could do the same thing, special summon an Exosister Xe monster from your extra deck using this card. Pretty cool. Now, basically what this means is that Martha allows you to use things like Called By or what have you in order to move a card out of the graveyard to use it as an Xe material. Ellis specifically requires your opponent to do that. So if they were, for example, to Called By something like a Maxi, you could then special summon it using the Ellis. And all that needs to happen, all of these guys have that same effect except for Martha. Martha is the special one where anyone can do that. These all specifically require the opponent to do that, or to move a card. But, notably, what this means is that you can actually chain things that would special summon a monster, such as Pax, Vaudis, etc., to the activation of something like a Called By in order to special summon out one of your monsters to get a free Xe. Because all they have to do is see that a card has moved in order to be that Xe material. Very nice. It means that Vaudis basically turns into 2 free Xes, which is very cool because all of these have effects the turn that they are summoned. Next up, we have Stella. Stella is exceptional. You just special summon an Exosister from your hand, and then also they are able to move, or they are able to do the tag out. We have Irene, which can tuck an Exosister card to the bottom of the deck to draw a card. It's not the greatest, and it doesn't really have a way to special summon itself, so we're only playing the one. And then we have 2 Sophia. Sophia is pretty nice as well, due to the fact that it draws a card, but it doesn't special summon anything, so that's why we're only playing 2 of this one, but being able to draw a card for free is pretty nice. You just need to control another Exosister. Now, notably, all of the Exosisters have a pairing, so yeah. Stella is tied to Ellis. Ellis is also tied to Martha. Martha is tied to Ellis. So these do come up with the Vaudis as well as the Pax. Then we have Irene and Sophia tied together as well. Moving on to Pax. Pax is a search during the main phase, and also if you have the opposite one, so if you have Stella, you can special summon Ellis from the search, and then you could also do the opposite. So if you have Ellis on the field or in the grave, you could special summon the other one. Arment allows you to tag out during the opponent's turn to go into an Xe monster, which is pretty cool. Vaudis special summons 2 that are tied together from the deck, but shuffles them into the deck during the end phase, which is pretty nice. This means you could chain this to an opponent, again, activating something like a Called By, or just anything that would move a card, banish it, or what have you, and you can then activate it, and your opponent then you get to activate your effects, right? Pretty nice. Then we have Returnia, one of the most pushed trap cards for this deck. If you control only Exosister monsters, you can target a card your opponent controls, banish it, then if you Xyz summon this turn, you can banish another one, or you can immediately Xyz summon an Exosister monster using monsters you control. This includes Magnifica, which we'll get into in a second. But Returnia is absolutely crazy. It's a targeted banish and then a non-targeted banish, because most of the time you will already have summoned in Exosister on the opponent's turn due to how this deck functions, and now you get 2 free banishes with 1 card. Absolutely insane. Why is this the case? I don't know. Just truly a crazy card. Now, as for the extra deck monsters, we have ourselves the triple Mika. Mika is probably the best of the rank 4s. Reason for this, it can't be destroyed by battle with a special summon monster from the graveyard, but more importantly, the turn it is summoned, you can target a card your opponent controls or in their graveyard and banish it at quick effect speed, which is pretty nice. But also, on your turn, you can detach a material to add an Exosister spell trap from your deck to your hand. Adding something like a Returnia on your first turn is very nice. Next up, we have Caspatel. We're running 3 of this one as well. We're running 3 of most of them, except for Gibrine. Gibrine just happens to be the weakest of them. And Caspatel's effect is that it allows you to detach to search a monster, which is very nice. Also, neither player can special summon monsters the turn it is summoned. So, that's pretty nice. Or, sorry, special summon monsters from the extra deck. Should have specified that. Sorry. Gibrine is decent. It can't be destroyed by the activated effects of monster special summon from the graveyard. Whereas this one also can't be destroyed by battle by special summon monsters. So, there's that. We have the effect on that turn to negate an effect monster your opponent controls. Just negate its effects, target it, negate, pretty nice. And you can detach a material to have all of your Xyz gain 800 attack. This is why we're playing 2 of it. Its primary effect to detach to gain attack isn't that great, but it's good for OTK, so that's where we're playing 2. You summon 1 on the opponent's turn, you summon the second on your turn to go for the OTK. Pretty nice. Oh, and this is just the whole turn, any Xyz monster you summon, which is also very nice. So it's not something where it's like only monsters you could currently control, just all of them. Next up, we have Asfiel. Asfiel is pretty nice because it turns off the graveyard on the turn it is summoned, and you could detach material to target a monster your opponent controls and return it to the hand. This is also why we're playing 3. It's pretty nice to just deal with problematic boss monsters, something like, something you may not be able to get over, like a defense position Zeus with no materials or something like that. So, yeah. Next up, we have the double Magnifica. This card is insane. It just requires 2 rank 4 Exosister monsters, or Xyz monsters, and must be Xyz summoned with the above materials. This card can make 2 attacks during each battle phase, which does come up quite a bit, and once per turn, quick effect, detach material, banish a card your opponent controls, and when an opponent, this is also a non-target banish, by the way, which is fun. Just a quick effect non-target banish. Shureg was literally meta because of this, and this card does it too. So, not quite as good of stats, not quite as good of an advantage, but it also has a second effect, where when an opponent activates a card or effect, you can tag out into one of the materials that is attached underneath. So, basically, if you make this with Mika and Caspatel, you can detach the Caspatel, banish a card your opponent controls, and then also tag out into the Mika that you put back into the extra deck and summon it again in order to banish another card. So this, on top of Returnia, allows you to banish 1/2 with the Magnifica. Well, technically Magnifica into Mika. Then after that, you can activate Returnia to banish another card, and then also banish another card because you Xyz summoned. That's 4 banishes. On top of whatever other hand traps you happen to have, because of course you're going to draw hand trap, because guess what? Martha does everything with basically a singular card. Cool. As for the rest of the cards in this deck, we are playing the 1 Veiler for a cross-out target. We are playing triple Maxi, triple Ash Blossom. The double Dimension Shifter we can play very easily underneath this. We don't really need anything in the graveyard, so might as well. And it's just like an auto win against a lot of decks. We have the double Nibiru, the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Pot of Prosperity, 1 Cosmic Cyclone because it's funny. And then we have the double Called by, 1 Cross-out Designator, and triple Infip. As for the rest of the extra deck monsters, we have 1 Baguska because it's funny, and we have the 1 Zeus. Zeus does come up, and so there you go. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so previously this deck was exceptional at going second, so let's see how good it is at going second. Well, I shouldn't say exceptional, but it was more so suited to going second due to the fact that it was not good at going first, because you didn't really have anything, so you kind of needed to play blowout cards. However, let's see how we can do now. We have Maxi and Effective Veiler, so we're going to drop the Maxi. My opponent will activate their Ash Blossom, because of course they have it, but we do have the Effective Veiler, so maybe we can do something. Out comes the Moye. They're going to reveal the Vashetta, and I go, oh, well, unless they have Long Wand in hand, this effect failure should basically end the turn. So they are going to get Moye'd, and then they are going to or get negated on their Moye, and then go for Monk and pass the turn. So let's see what we can do as follow-up. We draw the Ash Blossom, just in case they have a Max C, and we get to search out the packs here, and special summon the Stella. We normal summon the Ellis there, because we do need a monster on the field for packs to special summon, so there you go. We're then going to go for the Caspatel here, because it allows us to grab up our Martha. Martha's effect will allow us to get another Xyz monster, so we're going to go for the Ellis here as well. And we're going to summon out the Mika here. Mika will then detach to add a spell trap, and then we are also going to banish one of their monsters. So we're going to banish the Vashetta from the graveyard. I could have banished one of their monsters if I really wanted to, but we're just going to go to Magnifica to clean up anyway. We also draw add the Returnia off of the Mika. So we're going to go to Magnifica, punch over both of their monsters, set 2, and pass. So we have the packs as well as the Returnia. So this is the 4 banish combo with Ash Blossom and packs. Pretty nice. So, they're going to start off with the Vashetta. I allow that to go through. Sure. I'm actually going to immediately banish this because, yeah, they don't need to. Out comes the Sacred Summit, and I'm actually going to immediately go for the Magnifica here. The reason for this is because we do want the Returnia to be activated, or activatable. And I know with the Moye, it's going to come out. They're going to have 2 tokens. And it's going to be, they're going to have 2 monsters. We can go Returnia, banish both of them, and then they're down to whatever card is in their hand. We're also going to go packs here to add the Stella to special summon it, which will then also allow us to summon another monster. But we don't really need it, and you will see why in a second. Out comes the Moye. They're going to reveal the Taya, and at this point I'm like, okay, with the Mika, we have enough. But we also get to trigger the Stella here. So we're going to go for the Gibrine, because it is a ineffective negation. So my opponent is going to summon out the Sword Soul token. We're going to go Returnia. We're going to banish 1 and 2. And then out comes the Taya. We will promptly banish that. My opponent concedes. Yeah, it just handily clapped Sword Soul. Now, granted, that was due to them having a weaker hand, but, I mean, you get the point. Alright, and here we are actually going first, and, ooh, Maxi. So, let us start off with the Sophia here. We need to normal summon this, and then I actually make a mistake. I go for the packs here to grab the Martha, and at this point, I hadn't realized that it does say you have to control the monsters or only Xyz monsters, but it's fine. We did end up drawing the Arment, which is a 1-of, as well as Called By, which is actually really good for us, because if my opponent touches the graveyard, we can actually go Arment and tag out into something, and then we can also use like Called By and stuff like that. So depending on how this works, it could be pretty useful. And then of course we have the Maxi as well. So Sophia on the field isn't terrible, but it's also not great. They're gonna go for Foolish Burial Goods, and out comes the Toy Vendor. Interesting. They're going to activate the Toy Vendor, and they are going to add the Fluffle Dolphin. Then they are going to activate Fright for Patchwork, and they're going to search out the Edgimp Sabers as well as their Polymerization. Out comes the Fluffle Dolphin. I'm going to activate my Maxi because I'm not entirely sure if they're going to link off into anything, because I'm not sure entirely what this deck wants to do to start their plays. I know the end of the plays, I just don't know how they start them. They're then going to reset their Toy Vendor, which actually triggers my Sophia. So Sophia is going to go into Asfiel. The reason we go for this is because I know that Toy Vendor activates in the graveyard, as well as most of the Fright for stuff activates in the graveyard. So this locks them out of activating anything in the graveyard. So cool. So we're going to prevent them from actually activating cards in the grave, and then they're going to go for the Polymerization to go for Fright for Tiger. Tiger is then going to target our 2 back row, and we are going to just chain the Called By to target something, and it chain Arment. Now, I do make a little bit of a mistake here. Realistically, I should obviously deal with the Sabers. Sabers in the graveyard, it doesn't actually do anything here, neither does Wings, but it's a different name, or more specifically, it's an Edge Imp instead of a Fluffle, which is pretty important for their fusions, and yeah, so anyway, we're going to tag out now with the Arment in order to go to Mika. They're then going to activate the Fright for Fusion, and this is why banishing the Sabers would have been better, because now they can go for the Cruel Whale. Cruel Whale is going to then activate its effect. I'm going to chain up my Mika, and we are going to banish the Cruel Whale. They're going to boost up with the Tiger and just punch in. But yeah, we do get to banish the Cruel Whale, and whatever they ended up sending didn't really matter. They're then going to go for Polymerization into Sabertooth. Sabertooth is then going to activate its effect, and we drew into Nib, because Maxi is a cool, balanced, interesting Yu-Gi-Oh card. They're going to special summon out their Fright for Tiger, and we are going to promptly deal with their board. Now, notably, this does still turn off the Martha, but in all honesty, we did draw Vadis, so it's also fine. And also, I didn't really want to give them anything on their field, because I don't know what that set card is. Anyway, we draw into the Stella, which is fantastic! And now we can special summon the Sophia, and then deal with the Scythe that was set. I don't know if you saw that. That was Scythe set. So drawing that Cosmic was kind of funny. We're going to go into the Mika. We don't actually really have access to lethal here because we do have the Nib token on our field. We can't go for the Martha. So I just grab up the Returnia, and we're just going to punch for a bunch of damage and basically say, all right, can you beat Zeus and Vadis? The Returnia is not going to be set because it's not going to do anything here because we don't have just Exosister monsters. But yeah, I'm like, do you have the out to Zeus? They say no, and I go, okay, cool. Let's just finish this game. And we're going to punch them for 3k, well over lethal. Good game. Alright, and here we are once again going first, and hey, look, we drew Sophia. This is really nice because we drew Sophia Ellis, so we can go Sophia to draw another card, and we draw Ash. This is pretty interesting, but hey, now we can go Caspatel to grab up our Martha. So we still get access to the 2 Xyz, which is very good. So we're going to go and special summon out the second Ellis, bring out the Mika, activate its effect in order to search out a monster, or sorry, a spell trap, and then we're going to go into the Magnifica, and set 4 and pass. I put it in attack position. That's a bit of a mistake, but not that big of a deal. And what is my opponent playing but Drytron? What the? They're going to pitch Phaleg. So it's Drytron Megalith. Interesting. Out comes the Delta. They are going to draw a card. Then they're going to activate the Cyber Emergence. We will promptly Ash that. And triple tag. Well, okay. They choose to take control, so I'm going to activate the Magnifica here in order to banish their Delta. And this also does turn off the Returnia. However, we do have Vadis to turn it back on. So it's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. They're going to triple tag take, and then of course they have the Drytron Nova to special summon out the Zeta, and they have the Alpha in hand because of course they do. But that's okay, because we're going to chain the Vadis here. We're going to summon out the Martha, and then we are also going to activate our Returnia to banish their Alpha and called by the Zeta. Then we're going to Xyz summon using our 2 monsters in order to go into Gibrine. Why do I go Gibrine? Because it has a negate, and it's a big enough body in order to prevent them from going, like, attacking in with Magnifica and punching over it. However, if they're playing Zeus, this is a mistake. And they were playing Zeus, so I should have gone Mika, banished my own monster. The reason I didn't want to do that is because I did want to get it back. So there's that. I also detached the wrong material here, but that's fine. My opponent just concedes, though. I think... I'm not entirely sure why, but... I guess they were like, I can't really do much with just Zeus, so... Good game, but I couldn't really do much either. Well, no. If they had gone Zeus, I just negate their... Well... Had they activated Zeus on my turn, it wouldn't... Anyway, who cares? They decided to scoop it up thinking that I had the out. I didn't. That was my mistake. And their mistake, but I won. Alright, so here we are once again going first, and look at that, shiny Martha. So we're going to start off with the Martha here, and we're going to special summon it with the Ellis, and then we're going to special summon the Ellis, and then we're going to go into the Caspatel. Yay, Caspatel. We're going to activate the Caspatel's effect, and we are going to detach a material in order to grab up the Sophia. Sophia is then going to be normal summoned, and we will activate its effect in order to draw into Nibiru. Cool. We're going to now activate the Mika that we summon into grabbing the Returnia, so that we can actually, you know, banish cards and deal with our opponent. We're then going to go for the Magnifica and set 3 and pass. We also have Maxi and Nibiru, which is cool. Anyway, they're going to start off with Foolish Burial, dumping... Not Nimble Angler. It's instead Shadow Mist. Alright. We're going to banish the Shadow Mist with our Called By. We are also going to activate the Pax here, and... okay, well, that doesn't matter. I was going to make the Martha so that we could actually, you know, Xyz summon an additional card, but that's fine. We're gonna activate the Maxi, and it goes through. Okay, cool. Anyway, they're gonna go for their. I'm sorry. Hold. Huh? All right. Then they go Stratos and Spirit of Neos. Okay, this is not actual heroes. Draw Cosmic, which is funny. Anyway. Spirit of Neos, they're going to go engage Neo space. Sure. Out comes Elemental Hero Neos, and I go, not that one. No, we're going to banish that one. We're going to detach the Caspatel, and then out comes the Polymerization, and I'm going to go and activate the Returnia in order to banish their other monster, and basically say, you got to have it. They didn't have it, so their Polymerization fades. Cool. Well, I'm going to detach another material to banish a monster, because I'm stupid and don't know how my own cards work, but I'm going to go to battle. We're going to attack for... well, I should have attacked twice, but I didn't because I'm stupid. So I just punch once and pass back. It didn't really matter, and now we have a lethal here. But I end up styling a bit. We go for the Vadis here. We're going to special summon out the Sophia. We're going to special summon out the Irene. We're going to grab up the... we're going to grab up 2 cards. We grab Dimension Shifter and Stella. Stella's actually pretty good. So now we can go for the Caspitel, grab up the Martha. We can then activate the Martha effect, and we can special summon out 2 monsters. At this point, again, I'm just stunting. I literally have lethal with the Magnifica, but alas... actually, no. Do I? Yes, I do. No? Yes. Anyway, so we're going to punch, and then I'm going to punch with the Mika, because I keep forgetting that this has 2 attacks. And I also banish a monster because I can, and it's funny. Anyway, good job, hero player. So, in all honesty, how good is this deck? Well, it dies to a single Harpy's Feather Dust or a Lightning Storm, but as does a lot of decks. And, well, okay, it doesn't even die to that necessarily, but it is a pretty decent deck. Well, I guess the single Kaiju does kind of hurt it, but anyway, beside the point. Martha is just an absolutely insane card, along with Returnia, along with Magnifica. These are 3 cards that genuinely shouldn't have been as good as they were, but because of the actual support that I think a lot of people gave Exosister by, you know, playing it, even though it was a terrible deck, Konami said, you know what? Let's give them actual good support. And they solved basically all of the issues. They gave the deck actual... you know, a cohesive strategy thanks to Martha being able to consistently do that. They gave Returnia to additionally give them interaction, and Magnifica as an actual boss monster. Yes, Mika is fine, but Magnifica is just a million times better. So all in all, it basically plays very similar to, like, I want to say Live Twin, but that's not the case, like, at all. It's not as many hand traps. I guess it's similar to Sky Striker in... kind of? I don't know. It definitely has its own playstyle, but it's similar in nature to Sky Striker or Live Twin, where it is a very pushed archetype that just kind of got everything that it needed to in a boss monster or what have you. So there you go. And honestly, the deck is all pretty fun. It's very cool being able to, you know, go into something like an Asfiel or a Caspitel, knowing what your opponent is going to be playing to potentially lock them there, or, you know, knowing exactly what interactions you need to banish, and also just banishes are very strong. Dimension Shifter is also a card that is very cool. No, it's not. That's a lie. But it's a card that you can play, which is, you know, if you just want to auto-win games by turning off your brain and activating Dimension Shifter, this deck can do that. However, I do think that this deck does require a little bit more brain power than just activate Dimension Shifter. There's definitely a bit more that you have to actually play around and think about, and I don't even know if this is necessarily the best version. I'm not playing things like Necro Value, which are also good. I'm also playing the 1 random Cosmic Cyclone, which could be just Lightning Storm. You could also play like Evenly Matched and stuff like that. So there are definitely different things that you could do with this deck. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, I like it very much, so appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.